Oh, hello everyone. So let's start some sculpting. I'm gonna switch to the data I've edited in the past. I think it was this one. Yeah. And currently I want to add some cables this week. So currently we have this, and now there's no like cables, there's no like pipes going around the model. So my plan is to add those. Let me load up the reference image and let's switch to the comment. There we go. Okay. So we need to add some cables around, I think it's the chest area. Yeah, somewhere around the belt as well. So I think there's a couple of like harnesses that's like holding the tools together, like these, but I want to focus on these kind of cables where something is like holding on together, I guess. The normal thing is this, and like there's a couple of like reference images that has this kind of like stuff which is holding on to the back, I guess. So I think this is like holding on to the area where the pilot or the astronaut is like doing the work. Hey, welcome. So I guess because this is not really like factual sculpting, like I'm not really like going to replicate 100% of the thing, so I'm gonna like add some stuff which is not like the actual thing, but I'll try to like add some realism to it. But now like I think it's good to like add some cables around which doesn't like interfere too much with the actions like the character is gonna take, but could add some kind of like safety to it. So I think I'm gonna add a cylinder like this, and then switch to a cylinder and remove any additional polys, and then Gizmo 3D, and then gonna remove these top areas like this, and I'm gonna use this as a base. Let's see. So I think I'm gonna add some cables around the legs. Something like here. And then add another one, which would be going around Wait, let me think about this. Maybe something around here. And then yeah, like thinking about design and where to think, like where to place them, and looking at the actual reference is sometimes hard. But maybe adding some like elements to the helmet would be interesting. So I'm gonna add some kind of like a oxygen pipe around here, and I'm gonna use the Z modeler modeler's bridge, and let's just connect two holes, and spline would be fine. So click, click. Something like this. Daisuke, do you still have a bird living outside your window? That's been solved. That bird like flew away, and I think they're doing well. I had to remove the actual nest from the window. It was a bit of a mess. Like, I had it twice. So I had one of the window which was which had a bird nest with like several, like I think 4 or 5 like small birds, and after that flew away. There's a lot of like mites which came out of the nest, and like it was a disaster. And then after cleaning that, there was another set of birds who was living outside of my other window, and I had to like clean up that nest as well after they left, and it was a nightmare. Like, it was well, the other one didn't have any like mites or any like bug infections, but infestations. But yeah, like it was like really hard to like deal with those kind of like pesky things. Okay, so I just added a cable, and I'm gonna adjust it slightly so I can rotate this, have it look like this, so it doesn't look like really too much stretched. Talking about like recent events, I visited the Tokyo Wonder Festival, like I've sold my model I was making a while ago, and that was pretty much it. Like, I was busy as heck. I wasn't able to like take any like nice photos. Like, I was busy doing my stuff, like doing the packaging on the fly. Oh, I don't need duplications. Oh. Duplicate and then mirror. I don't think I need subdivision levels. Do I use Blender? No. Yeah, something like a cable. And then I would like to add a cover to this cable, or a cover looking what do you call those, wrinkles to it. So I'm gonna try a couple of things. I think I'm gonna mask the end of the cable. So I'm gonna use the mask by feature and then mask the borders, and then let me try if this is gonna work. Expand, inflate, and let's see. Oh, no gravity. So it is working, but I think it needs to have collision volume with itself, so it like expands outside, but this is currently too much inflated, so I think 0.01 would be fine. And let's see. Okay, so I think it needs some closed holes, and then let's see if that helps. And used without demasking, I guess. So collision volume recalculations. Oh, it needs to be visible, recalculation, and let's see. Okay, so I think yes, this might need masking, and maybe less expand. Ooh. Interesting shape. So additionally, I would like some wrinkles to this thing, so I'm gonna add wrinkles by using the cloth hook. No, thanks. Yeah. Let's stop expanding and inflating. Maybe only expand. Oh, yeah. I think without the inflation is nice. I just need to pull the entire thing, so not the unbrushed option. Doesn't look right, so let me rethink this. So I don't think I need 2 axes to expand upon. So let me try this. Oh, the resolution is too tight, so maybe this. And now adding this. Oh, looks looks like a muscle structure, which is like looking more like organic. Well, I'm gonna use this kind of like thing and then use inflate to actually get the model outside. So why this doesn't look like a cloth or some like rubber material is that this area, which is like folding around, is like really thin. So I'm gonna add a bit of thickness to it. And add some like volume so it looks like it's like having a cable inside or some kind of like a pipe inside or tube, I don't care which, and then adding a bit of thickness so it has that kind of like a thickness to the rubber material, which is like wrapping around the cable. And then let's see if this looks correct. Huh. Yeah, like this looks like a cable at least. And then maybe just tweaking the overall shape with snake hook. Yeah, something like this. This could be used for a lot of like bunch of things, like guts on the character or guts on the like creature. Like having a robot, like adding some like fabric to it. You can use it for IMM cables and like IMM curves and then trying to repeat it as well. So I'm going to do the same thing for the opposite side. Also, currently I have this cable, which is like placed internally, like this one. But if you don't need it anymore, you can delete it as well. So it depends on your workflow. But currently, I just want to have this as a core, so I can just use it for other options. So this would be collision volume, recalculation, and then having some kind of divide, and then masking the borders, and then calculating. So maybe 2 would be fine. Inflate as well, and then stop the inflation, expand, and divide. Might be better to add self-collision as well. And then let's look at the result. A bit more aggressive than the opposite side, so I'm gonna smooth it out a bit. Yeah, this looks fine. You can also add a couple of wrinkles on this side as well if you want. I'd want the size to look a bit similar, so adding a bit of inflate. Yeah, looks fine. Also, you can add a couple of like details to this where currently it doesn't really have much detail, but you can add details by using the surface noise, for example, frame, and this is the basic like noise you can add, but you can also add something like noise plug, and then if you go to other patterns like hex grid or something like this, and then if you reduce the noise with the basic noise, then if you change the size of the plugin scale and then adjust the strength, you can have something like this. But currently, because it doesn't have any like UVs, it's doing this. But if you create a UV, it's gonna like follow the UVs. And currently I don't really need UVs, but I want to test a couple of like patterns. By using some kind of like a turbulence or checkboard, brick, camouflage. I think like turbulence would be nice because it adds that kind of like plastic looking like wrinkles to it. And then I'm gonna like copy and then paste it on the other side as well. Paste. And there we have it. And then let's see what I'm gonna add. Oh, no problem, thanks. I would like to have a bit of a detail on this side because this is just like a plain model. It's boring as heck. So I'm gonna add some inserts like this. Polygroup is the same. And have a hole in the middle. Well, not like specifically a hole, but something like this. And then I would like something here. And then, because it's all the same polygroups, let's just push it down with QMesh, polygroup all, and have something like this. And currently it's like octagonal shape. I don't want it octagonal, and I'm gonna use I guess crease to get the shape. So I'm going to use crease the borders like this, and then smooth it out. But currently it has a crease where I don't want it like this. So I'm going to use the polygroup crease. So it has this, but now the outside is like ignored. So I'm going to use the crease tolerance. To have it more than 45 degrees, I guess. Oh. And now I have a mesh like this, which is divided. Are you gonna 3D print this? No, I don't think so. Also having some kind of like a small bolt inside, but should have done this before I started posing. Oh well. So additional thing would be having some kind of oh yeah, I didn't work on the gloves as well. Like I need to do that. Well, before I do that, I would like to have a stronger connection with the backpack itself with the structure. So I'm gonna add a couple of bolts. Which could be nice to add. Also, when you're working on a angle, like if you want it specifically like onto the mesh, like this, you can do this by clicking on the mesh and then placing the gizmo with the Alt key, and then duplicating, and then remove the subdivision level. And like for example, if you want a like cylinder 3D on top of it, you can use this to actually replace the existing mesh to the primitive. So you can use this to like place models which is specifically on the surface. So I'm gonna use this, and I want it on the opposite side as well, so I'm gonna duplicate and then move this like this, and then I'm gonna combine it as a single subtool, like so. And let's see, I would like to have a split on the middle like this, and then polygroup loop, poly loop, oh, not this direction, this, oh, poly, it doesn't need a poly group, but QMesh poly loop. And have it like this. So we have something like this, and then having crease to fill out something like this. Oh, this has mRGB on it, so I'm gonna remove the mRGB, make it a flat color material. Same for here, same for here. And then let's see if I need to have multiple things on this side. Maybe adding 2 or more would be nice. So I'm gonna duplicate this and bring it down like so. Yeah, this should be fine. Oh, thanks. And then let's see, I want to add a couple of like small bolts that looks similar. But since I'm like scaling it down, it's not the same kind of like size anymore. Like it is the same size, but like it's not like placed on the same position. So I'm gonna delete it, delete the other side of the mesh. Subdivision 1, delete hidden, bring it back to 4. And then I'm gonna copy it on the other side, but I'm gonna apply the subdivisions later on. So I'm gonna have this copied like this, and then flip, duplicate, flip. And then position it close like this and rotate. And like if you look at it from the back, it's like slightly off, so I'm gonna just like eyeball it and then place it like close. If you want it really like symmetrical, you should have applied it when like before you actually pose it, but like I would like to pose it and then design it's at the same time, so this is fine. So, okay, I've got the results that I'm looking for. Looks good. Do you use reference when making your models? Yes, of course. I've took the time to actually collect a couple of images like this. Like the actual like diagram showing that what's what, and like you can see there's like TV cameras, lights, and like drinking bag as well. Oh, I didn't know there was a drinking bag. Yeah, so you can see there's like a lot of like things which you may not know or you can't really visibly tell, but there's a lot of like parts like that, especially when you're looking at suits, or like if you're looking at things that you're not really familiar with. like, especially like I'm not really familiar with guns, for example, like, and then like if I need to model a gun, it's very hard for me to actually understand what is doing what and what's the intent of the part itself. So I usually look at gun diagrams and try to understand what the parts is intended to do. So like for example, there's like temperature control on the dashboard itself, and it says like display and control module. So, and then if you look at the other angle, so you can look at like, oh, there's a knob, or there's a dial here, and there's the air, like the temperature control itself. Like you can see there's a handle for it, and there's like a lot of like push and pulleys that you can actually use. And then if you look at the other angle, there's more things like this wasn't there because the suit itself is fine, but like now you need to get wrapped into the the equipment itself. So there's like additional parts, there's a cover for these kind of the back parts itself, and those kind of stuff. Like, so if you look at the image, it makes more sense, but because you're not like looking at the image like 100% like with the understanding of that like image itself, like sometimes I'm getting confused myself as well. So it's good to have a lot of like diagrams, references, like informations, even a text saying that, oh, this is this, and this needs to be this, and what's the actual use of this will be this, and that kind of things, like memos, which is handy. So okay, additional things would be there's some like lower torso assembly, and currently I didn't do any like color coding, but like looking at the image, there's some color coding to this where like there's red, because I think it stands out from the like blue dark color. Like you can see it's like really standing out. So I think that kind of like information is important when you're dealing with this kind of models. So I'm gonna paint it red. And then like you can see there was like a couple of things where the belt itself was red. There's a side where there's an indication where I think it's like an indication that like if you look at from the back, like it's like recognizable, I guess. So I'm gonna add that to this. So there's kind of a red rectangle. So I'm gonna use the Cube 3D to actually do some small job for this. So something like this, but it needs to match the surface. Hey, what's up? Hey, Ian. Ian is our ZBrush Live streamer, also a Pixologic employee. So say hi to Ian. I'll just continue on sculpting. So looking at the reference image, I'm gonna add a red indication thing. I don't know what this is. but I'd like to match it onto the surface, so I'm gonna use the, let's see, so I use ZBrush to have enough resolution onto the mesh, and then I'm gonna use the matchmaker. If you press M and M, there's a matchmaker, and then I'm gonna look at the model from the front and then have like do a stroke like this, and it's like going to match the surface behind it, and then it's gonna do this. So before I do this, I want to have this on the opposite side as well, so I'm gonna copy this, duplicate, and then try to rotate so it matches the other side as well. Voila. And then I'm gonna apply the matchmaker. And then move this so it hits the model. Like this. This is fine. And I'm gonna do it for the opposite side as well. Oh, the position is slightly off, so I'm gonna tweak it. So it matches like this. So now there's some kind of like indication markers, and then let's see if I need to add more things. Oh, the this detail here is red as well. I didn't notice this. So I'm gonna color this red. Let's see if other things are red as well. Oh, what's this frame? Canada. I don't think I like specified the character's like nationality at least. The simplest would be Japanese flag, because white and red circle would be really simple to do. But like you could like if you have an idea of like the character's nationality, you can do that by like downloading the flags, the texture, and then like applying it as a texture as well. And like you can see there's some like Da Vinci-esque astronaut here, which is like common on like most of the image I see. But for this one, I'm not gonna really bother to design, because like my main thing is like sculpting itself, not the texturing. So there's the red on the leg, then the side and the neck and the belt itself, I guess. So I'm gonna add the, well, I'm gonna add this as red as well, and then add the belt to red. Like this. And let's see, there's a NASA indication. And also there's, I don't know what this is, but thrusters, I guess? It says Martin Marietta. I think it's the astronaut's name, I guess. And this comes some kind of like a, I think this is like strobo or light flash. Flashing parts, I guess. I'm not gonna plan, like I'm not planning to like actually print this, but like if you want to print it, then yeah. I can print it. It's not a really complex part, like it's just a one piece of geometry. Yeah, currently Streambot is on summer vacations, I guess, and I don't know why, but like it's not really working. I need to ask Kyle. Okay, I'm gonna add a couple of like parts with cylinders. Like this looks like a hole, but I don't want a hole on the side, so I'm gonna add a mesh like this. Which is very, very tiny. It's so tiny, I guess. Like it's... I don't need this to be so tiny. There we go. And I don't need a dynamic subdivision applied. I'm gonna have it like this. So there was one hole, two holes on the side. Yeah, I guess. Yeah, and sometimes do things which I don't know what is happening, but yeah, sometimes it's not there. And I'm gonna add a strobo light, which is some kind of like a flashy indicator. I do have a reference for a strobo light where I have a helmet like this, which is a military looking helmet, and then I have a light which is like, which does a lot of like flashing if you're like using that as an indication. Like this part, like put some like lights on top, and then you have a couple of like, mine has additional like blue light like this. Can you see the light? So yeah, like you can have these kind of like details or these kind of like flashing lights as well. So in order to like replicate something like this, I think it's better to like have some references on hand. So there is some kind of a circular shape, and then it's like a cone shape, which looks like a aerodynamic, some kind of like a shape that's like visible from all sides. So I'm gonna try to replicate that. And like duplicate and make this to the opposite side as well. And since this is like already posed, I'm gonna like manually rotate them and match wherever it is. I guess something like this. And let's see. So I'm gonna add a crease, but currently this crease is like going in the place where I don't need them because it's like adding things on vertical. So I'm gonna apply the tolerance with like 60 degrees, and then I'm gonna apply it. Now it's like fine. No flat subdivisions. I'm just gonna add smooth with like 3 or 4. 3 is fine. 60 crease, and then dynamic subdivisions 3, 0. And now I'm gonna add the thing. Are the physical copies of ZBrush, or is it pretty much download only nowadays? Like if you request a, I don't think they do this anymore, but like it used to have a backup copy of ZBrush, which was the installers were like copied onto the CD as a disk, and then you can like install that by like loading up the disk, but it's basically doing the same thing. So it's like it's pretty much download nowadays. So I'm gonna make some kind of a cone, but from a cylinder. And I'm going to use the local symmetry. Oh no, I don't need symmetry. And then make it something like this. I'm just going to use the half. So I don't need this area. I'm going to delete, close hole, and pull it like this. and I'm gonna use the keep group and zero measure, and I'm gonna have it white. Oh, I didn't paint this red. Oh. Paint it red. This one is white, and let me think about this. I think I want something on the side or the diagonal, or maybe on the bottom. Bottom could be nice. I've got an email from Maxon about subscribing to the new ZBrush or signing up to Maxon 1, but I don't know what to do. Will the subscription make my current ZBrush obsolete? For that specific question, there is a FAQ site. Oh, well, not a site, but like a FAQ from support. So if you go to ZBrush support FAQ, there is a section or an article saying that FAQ support. So this is the article specifically. I'm gonna post it with the Restream IO. So take a look at the FAQ, and it basically covers most of the questions you're asking. So also, let's say I do subscribe, but later stop the subscription. Will I not be able to use ZBrush? That's a common misconceptions. The ZBrush perpetual license holder would be able to use the perpetual license, and the subscription offer we're doing right now is just a different license on its own. So it's different from the perpetual, and you'll be able to get the discount for the subscription license separately from the perpetual, and then you can use that. But if the subscription ends, you'll fall back to your own like perpetual license, and then if you haven't decided to upgrade that perpetual license, that will stay on the 2022.0.5 option. Oh, the version. Yeah, so I think it's Ian explaining this, but yeah, specifically what it says. So perpetual license is separate from the subscription license, and then you'll be able to use the perpetual. But unless you upgrade it, it's still the older version. Yeah. Thanks, Ian. So I'm gonna create this cone, and because there was a cylindrical thing around it, I'm gonna do that as well. So I'm gonna duplicate this. Well, let me think about this. Let me center this and duplicate, and then cylinder. And then make this cylinder big enough, like this, and scale it. just slightly like this. And I'm gonna apply the crease again, I think 60, and then dynamic subdivisions, smooth 3. Honestly, at this point, I think the FAQ is the way to go right now. I'm gonna merge the thing with the cylinder plate and then merge down, duplicate, and then I'm gonna move it onto the other side. Hello, welcome. Well, if you have any questions, if you have any additional questions and if you're not really sure about the deal, you can head over to our support team, and if you have any questions, ask them the questions you may have. So here's the support URL, and if you start clicking, if you click on the start conversation section over here, you can have a conversation with our support team. Hello, thanks for coming. I'm gonna apply the crease. Oh, did I apply it upright? Yeah, then smooth is fine. Oh, did I merge something separate? No, it's fine. Oh, okay. So I've applied merge to the left and the right, and it's like approximately the same location, so it's fine by me. And I don't think there's indication markers on the boots, interestingly. And also there is a marker over here as well. Huh. Interesting. Well, looks like it depends on the equipment they have. Some don't have it, so like I'm looking at the reference and wondering why this specific like suit have this, and then if you look at the other image, this doesn't have the red bands on the area which this one has. but this one hasn't. Other images, when I'm looking at it, it doesn't have the red band, but like this red band over here seems to be a common thing. So. And then the same thing happens on this thing, where the neck part, which is white, but now if you look at this, it's red. I'm like, huh. I guess like this one, I guess it's more Russian, and I think this is more like NASA equipment. Yeah, like my initial plan was the anime girl in spacesuit, but yeah, like currently it doesn't have any like internal human inside, but but yeah, the initial plan was to have some anime girl, which was inside the suit. I've read a lot of like books about the technological like difficulties where they actually had some kind of like difficulties making this suit itself, and like how they actually like woven special like fabric specifically for this kind of like use. And like if you look at the images, there's a lot of like layers to it, like water transform tubing, like cover ortho fabric and stuff like that, like insulation layers, and I'm like, whoa. Now I'm trying to think of what anime girl I want to see in this space. Maybe cat ears, I guess. Okay, another thing would be to make a glove. Currently I don't really have a complex glove, so let's see if I can start sculpting that. So currently I just have this right now, which doesn't really look nice. So I'm gonna do some manual sculpting. And I think that the type of the glove itself is called a mechanical glove, which has a lot of like padding on the side. And especially when you're working with like hands in general, like it's better to separate the polygroups before you actually start sculpting, because it's like easier to do the separations by individual polys like this. So like when you're drawing some lines around the fingers, you don't really get lost with where the line is, and then like accidentally trying to draw onto another finger as well. And then it's better to like think about the folds where the finger is like bending over. Cat paws, fur gloves, and cat ears on the outside of the suit. Perfect. Fox ears. Wonder how much a space suit is worth. It's very, very, very costly. I don't really like remember the specific cost of the suit itself because the currency is like changing, and like yeah, having the idea of like how much it was like really expensive. But I've heard that like NASA doesn't really have a new suit anymore, so they're like reusing the suit which was used a while ago. And I think one of the astronauts said that the spacesuit itself stinks so much right now. So it's one of those things that it's hard to replace. So. And there's only like one company which could do this. So I think it was an American company which just specializes in like making these kind of suits. $150 million US. Ooh. Ooh. And it stinks too. Well, yeah. Yeah, I think it was the aluminum foils in the base, and then you have a fabric, which is the actual like insulation and stuff like that. There's like a lot of layers. But the simplification, like the simple version, was the aluminum foil. Yeah, the stink, the smell is the last thing you need to worry about. The like having a gap between the suit itself is more concerning. I'm gonna hide the other side because like it's like trying to like rotate around that as well, so it's easier to like just isolate the one and then like try to sculpt it. Also, when you look at the reference image, like there's a couple of like types of like gloves as well. Like if you look at this image, it has this like padding, and then you have those like grooves, which is like adding some like grip to it. And it's the same on this image. You have the grooves, and then you have the like the wrapping around kind of like effect happening. I think this is happening because it's like shrinking because of the space itself doesn't really have any airs. And like if you look at the actual like glove, it doesn't have that kind of big wrapping around it. I think this is a bit old as an era. I think this is more like recent. I guess there's a couple of like differences between the Russian like the Russian spacesuit versus the American spacesuit itself. But like looking at the image, I don't really see a huge like a difference between the two. The commonality would be there's a rubber tip, and then there's some kind of like a groove, so it has some kind of like grip to it. So that's the commonality. So taking a look at those images, I'm gonna try to like have some kind of like a groove which is like going around this model. Like this. And then try to see where the fold would land. Also, because I don't really have enough resolutions, I need to like do the subdivision a couple of times so it doesn't like look like it's like stretching or like pinching. So additional thing would be to use the slash brush. I think I've shown this a couple of times on stream. I'm going to use the /2 brush, so it have this kind of like a separation between the one stroke and the other. And I'm going to use the weighted smooth mode 4, which you can find on the smooth brush modifiers. And with the weighted smooth mode 4, you can do the lines very cleanly, like this. Which could add a bit of a layering effect happening on the mesh. And over here, I think it's better to have that kind of like a separation between the tip, where there's a rubber tip on the corner of the finger. Usually if you make the gap in between, like the line between this and this, really like even like this right now, it's gonna look very odd. So it's usually better to have a random like ratio between the separate like lines if you actually intend to do this. So it's better to use the dam standard as well sometimes. Oh, talking about space, there's a common joke in, I think it's like common in Japan, but like there's a common joke where the US made like pens where you can use that in like space, and then the Russians used pencils. Was the like the common joke where you're like where you can like see the difference between US and Russia. But I think the actual like truth was that Russians actually started using the pens as well, and then like they actually spend money to like develop it. So an actual fact that the actual development of the, what was it, the space pens, where the advertisement says that like you can use it even on like non-pressured like space. Like that was developed by non like NASA company, so it's a separate like thing. It's not actually used in space, was the thing I heard. It was just their advertisement. Also, if you go to a souvenir shop in Japan, like if you go to something related to like space, they will sell you some kind of like a dry food, which they advertise saying that, oh, this this dried food is what the astronauts actually eat, and one of them is like the space ice cream, where there's a like dried ice cream, but NASA says that they haven't actually used one of those in space. It was on the list, but like it wasn't actually brought on board. So it's kind of a myth where the company which is selling those as a souvenir is like selling you the illusion of the space ice cream thing. also in Japan, there's a space takoyaki as well. So if you're familiar with Japanese food, takoyaki is a form of a food where you like use flour and use sliced octopus inside it, and you have something like rolled up in a bowl shape, and like you have a space version of that as well. Oh hey, welcome. Yeah, takoyaki is really nice. Like I really love takoyaki. By the way, taco means octopus, so yaki means like cooked. So it's just, it simply means like cooked takoyaki. Nope, it's ZBrush. Oh, thanks. Yeah, it's like really fun to actually sculpt. Like I really prefer to like spend my whole day like just sculpting. I wish. I don't really have the time to actually do that, but yeah. Are you in Tokyo, Daisuke? I'm next to Tokyo specifically. Like I'm living in Kanagawa, which is really close to Tokyo. So if I want to like go to visit Tokyo, it's gonna take me around like close to 2 hours, 1.5 hours on train to actually get there. Same with the cars, I guess, like 2 hours on the car. I live close to the west side of Kanagawa, so it's more like the opposite side compared to the eastern side, which is more close to Tokyo. Yeah, Kanagawa is the one I'm living in. Yeah, so there's prefectures, which we call them. Well, it's pretty much close, like similar to living in Tokyo, but it's more on the countryside, I guess. like living, like for me, like living in Tokyo would be a bit harder because it's more noisy, it's more crowdy. You can't really use cars, and like people are expected to use like public transports more, and the public transport is like crowded as hell. And like if you compare to that, the countryside is more like relaxing, silent. Yeah, I really understand what you mean. Yeah. Like having the option to go to visit Tokyo is fine, but like being inside Tokyo, a different story. Also, the cost of living is higher as well. It's like living in London and like living in like New York would cost you more compared to the countryside. It's something like that. Like I've looked around for a house where in Tokyo, and the cost of like like a room with a kitchen and dining and a toilet and bath would be around like $10,000 or more. Per month. Like it's pretty high. And like if you go closer to a specific like high priced area, like the same room would cost me around like $2,000. Well, now with the inflations, it's more close to like $1,600, but oh, thanks. Yeah, like, but like the average like employment, the actual like the people who are getting paid would not really be able to get $2,000 in Japan's like current situation. Like most of the people who are like working is like the average would be 2,000 would be the salary for a month in Japan. or I think it was a bit more higher, but that's the salary situation in Japan. How long did it take you to get there? Couple of streams. I did it on stream, so you can take a look at the archives and count how many streams I did. I think this is the 6th stream, so each stream is 2 hours, so close to 12. So if you want to take a look at the actual entire mesh, this is the entire mesh. Thumbs up. And I'm currently doing the glove. Yeah, so in Japan, I think it was the total average would be the I can't like that usually people will get paid for like 40K, and then wait, not 40K, 400K. Wait, yeah, I think it's like 400K. No, it's 40K, and then because that's just an average, so that's including the people who are really getting high salaries. So if you look at the median score, it's much like less compared to that. It's more. I think it's easy to just Google it. Like my memory is not really correct on some things. Yeah. Like the current situation for the living in Japan is people don't really get paid a lot, so they're cutting a lot of like their savings, and they can't really like have kids that much because it's gonna cost you a lot. So that's gonna really affect the birth rate in Japan, and that's one of the reasons why Japan's like birth rate is like close to minus, I guess. yeah, so like, well, I'm not gonna go into the actual like details and the politics of Japan, but like, yeah, because the age population is higher compared to the younger generation. There's a lot of like difficulties like doing like, for example, one thing is like voting, for example, is more skewed towards the older generation, and the younger generation doesn't really have any like choice or a voice over their like stuff as well. So there's a lot of like problems related to birth ratios, and currently the birth ratio is really going to have a trouble, and we can't really sustain the current system in Japan. So so no wonder people like talk about anime girls and stuff like that. Yeah, so usually Japan is the center topic when it comes to like the aging population part, because aging population is like a specialty in Japan. Yeah, so if you want to learn what the society looks when the population is aging, you would look to Japan. So okay, so let's see. Currently, we don't have some kind of like internal shape over here. This around here. So I think it's better to have some kind of like a crease going on. Also, because the shape of the glove, or the hardness of the glove, is not really like soft compared to the other parts of the spacesuit. I think it's more it makes more sense to have like a line which is going really straight, and not really like stopping the line in the middle, compared to the other parts of the model. So this should have a fold which can't stop until it hits the area where it's like doing the crossovers, or it's like hitting the other areas and stuff like that. So I think dam standard would be easier to control for this one. Pawns. Also, there seems to be a padding over here as well, so maybe a bit more flat. Also, when looking at the reference image, there seems to be another kind of like a groove which is going sideways. So just looking at that, I'm gonna add some lines which is going horizontal to the thumb, like this. You can also use the interpolate to actually do the lines if you're doing some lines like this, and then you draw two lines and then interpolate between, so you have something like this, which could be handy and also clean as well. Like, and then if you like have something going over, you can just smooth it as well, or you can use the morph target and then do the cleanup with morph brush. Oh hey, I'm working on a spacesuit character, so it looks like this, and I'm just working on the glove right now. So I'm working on this area and just working on the actual groove of the glove. Do you have any sculpt that were commissioned on or on display like Ami? Currently I don't really have my professional like things which was like commissioned, but like I do have my like sculpt which was presented on Wonder Festival on my booth myself, but because it's a hobby project, it's not really the same quality or the same level where the professionals do it. But let me direct you to my Instagram. So if you go to my Instagram, you can see my personal work, which I've actually made it as a like 3D print and then painted by replacing that with resin by using a silicone mold, and then I've sold the actual like the garage kits on Wonder Festival. Oh, somebody said followed me, I guess. Thanks. I do need to upload the latest one as well, but I didn't really have the time to actually do that. Oh, thanks. Like specifically my partner actually did the paint. I do have a partner which is doing the actual like painting and the actual like sanding work, but like I do most of the like the 3D print process, and I do the actual like the creation part, but he does the painting and the sanding, the prep work. My partner is more doing the traditional like sculpt. Like he is using ZBrush, but he's currently using more like clay and Sculpey, which is a clay which you heat it up with like the oven to make it firm. Thanks. When you do the figures, what do you prefer more, going from scratch with a lot of like different references, or just one solid reference drawing or something? Depends. Like for example, I do some like fan art which just comes from like couple of like images, like for example 1 or 2 like references, but at the same time I do add my like own references to that like reference sheet. Like for example, if I have a specific hand shape, I'll try to like do the same kind of like hand shape and then add that to the reference as well. But like I prefer to do like fan art compared to my original like things. I can do them, but like it takes more time to actually come up with the designs, and like I can't really focus on sculpting compared to fan art. Like for fan art, like I can just focus on sculpting. I just need to replicate the style, which is more easier than like coming up with your own designs, because you need to like design it from scratch, as you know. So like the beginning of the stream, I was having a hard time like coming up with where to put the cables, because it's a bit more harder to do for me, because I need to like actually think about where to design, where it makes sense to add those. So for me, like both are fun, but one and coming up with designs would take me time. But like I'm not really good at like replicating, trying to replicate like the actual like person, or like doing a portrait. That's not really my like thing. So for me, that's the hardest one of all. What do you call those, likenesses? So like I prefer to like specialize more on the anime sculpting compared to the actual live sculpting, like live figure sculpting or portraits, or realistic like animals and stuff like that. But I should try them. Also, since Nightbot brought it up, there'll be a special stream with Funko where I think it was like 6 artists from Funko will be doing a multi-stream where the artist would do the stream with like 6 people and then do a like entire like conversations during this live sculpt off or live sculpt. So tune in if you want to look at that as well. There will be an archive if you missed it, but it's a great opportunity if you have to like if you can like do the comments and do the questions. No problem. Oh, thanks. Yeah, I've seen you in the comment section as well. It's an honor, thanks. Oh. Ow. I would like to add some kind of like a stroke, which is like following the surface. So I'm gonna draw a line which could follow this, like this, and then do a interpolate. Oh, that was too strong. I think 4 should be fine. Yay. So I think this is fine. This is really handy for like doing horizontal lines. I actually should do a guide on how to use interpolate effectively. Because this is the perfect case where you have horizontal lines like following the area, and like for example if you want a line like this and then if you want a line like this, it could follow like this, but like currently it's going the short path, so you'd like to do a line like this and then interpolate and then do a line like this and then do a line like this, and then finally you can do the last line at the end as well. So this is sometimes handy to get the lines following a surface like this. And then you just need to match the end. This might be a bit more harder when it comes to the opposite side because it's more like closed, but you get the idea. Okay, so I'm gonna start the opposite side, and oh, I've already passed this the time. Okay, so I'm gonna just do 5 minutes, and then I'm gonna end my stream, and I'm just gonna do the rough sculpt of the actual glove. So I have the idea of where I want it to go and where I want to go. So let me just do the sculpt so I'm just aware of where I am. My brain sometimes think I should like end around like 8 on my time, but like I start around 5, so it's gonna be 7:30 on my clock. But now it's like 7:40. So I'm gonna do some lines so I'm aware of where the sculpt would go, roughly. Side and the glove. And the opposite side would be, I think it was diagonal to this side, so it's going like this. And the other line would be going horizontal around here. And the line would need to go around the thumb as well. Okay, something like this. And then I need to do the folds over here. And make a fold so it looks more tight on the edges. Okay, so I'm gonna end my stream here. Let me know if you have any questions. You can leave the comment below as well if you're watching the YouTube channel. Okay, so see you next stream. Bye.